Hi, I'm Ruth Klein with the Expert Celebrity Branding Company, and this particular episode is all about how to introduce yourself online and offline. I often share with my clients that one of the best ways to get your ideal client, believe it or not, is just by how you introduce yourself. And there are a couple of things to think about when you do that, and I'm going to be sharing those with you. But first, I want to tell you about three situations offline and three situations online where they were just basically impromptu, many of them. However, because I have my introduction and who I am and my brand so clearly identified, it just kind of rolls off. And I don't always use the entire intro depending on where I am. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit of a deep dive to do that. Here's the thing. I was on a Zoom call and a colleague and friend was sitting listening on that Zoom call. And she didn't see anyone. She was just listening. So that always tells me body language wise and energetically, she could hear better than if she had the vision as well. And after the Zoom call, she said, "Ruth, you've got to be able to teach a class on how entrepreneurs need to introduce themselves." Whether it's on Zoom, and she goes, because I listened to the whole class, actually was a mastermind and a networking group. And she goes, I still didn't know who they were or what they did. So that's pretty powerful, isn't it? And there have been many times when I have just introduced myself. It used to be in the real live networking situations. And literally before I sat down, people wanted to connect with me. And I will tell you that almost always those people that wanted to connect with me are my ideal clients. Now, why do I say that? They're ideal clients, as you know, and they're clients. And I focus on ideal clients. And I'd love for you to think about focusing on ideal clients also. Your ideal clients understand your language. They understand what you do. You tell them what your investment is to work with you. And whether it's an attorney, whether it's a coach, whether it's financial advisor, it really doesn't matter. Or even a product. And they are appreciative. They see the value in it. And when you go to bed at night, you can put your head on the pillow and fall asleep. Clients are not your ideal clients. They're many times they could become ideal clients. So it's either ideal or not. And the people that are not your ideal clients, I know for myself, I don't find it to be a fit. And I have learned over the years that if it's not a fit for both of us to work together, it will come back to bite me in the tush. And it has on 3 occasions, 3 different clients, which I knew wasn't a fit, but I knew I could help them, and came back to bite me in the tush. So I don't know what your experience has been, but I'm sticking to this. And focusing on your ideal clients. So how can we attract our ideal clients? Just by introducing ourselves, whether it's online or offline. And so I want to share a couple of examples with you that happened within the last probably 6 weeks, actually, maybe 8 weeks. And I have it in a blog here, so you can feel free to go to my website at ruthklein.com and read the website as well and read the blog there. But a few weeks ago, I went on a walk, and I went to a coffee shop I don't normally go to. And someone was reading a book. And because I do everything brands and books, I love books and I love brands and I'm always curious about it. And then I saw the word consciousness or conscious. I think I saw the word conscious and I thought, I wonder if that has to do with John Mackey's book, Conscious Capitalism. And John Mackey was the co-founder of Whole Foods, or at least the co-CEO. And so anyway, I asked her, what are you reading? I see the word conscious in there. And she told me what she was reading. It was by John Mackey. And then I shared with her that she asked me, I said basically that I have my most recent book came out last year during the beginning of the pandemic. And she asked me what it was, and she wanted to know what it was about. And because I have it all prepared, I know exactly what my book's about. I know exactly how to combine it with my brand. And she literally bought the book right then and there. And as it turns out, she was also looking for an apartment, and I have some apartments. And so I showed her an empty apartment. So it really became wonderful. Someone I would normally not know or meet. And now she is in she's in my tribe. She's part of, my people, as we say. And so that was one situation. And then the same thing similarly happened when I was away. I go to a little hideaway where I do a lot of writing and catch up on projects. And it's really just very, very small and it fits me perfectly. And I went to a coffee house again and outside. And it was a darling little couple. And their little boy was running around. And we just started a conversation. And then I asked her some questions. And she basically said, gee, Ruth, I could listen to you talk about kids and parenting and, for a long time. And so that was my in to let her know that my social mission is Universal Mom, and that I was there at that coffee shop writing my next book. And then her husband asked what I did. And so I introduced myself and I told him what I did. And he also bought the book right then and there. And he wanted to know what kind of branding I did. And we talked about the possibility of working for his company, which is in Silicon Valley. So that was fun. A third example that happened, I was standing outside. I went 200 miles to get my vaccine, and I was standing in line, and I heard behind me that someone was also from Los Angeles, and he came 200 miles away. And I just turned around. We just started talking. It was really fun. It was interesting. It brought down the anxiety level, and we've become vaccine buddies. And we met again at our second dose, and he let me know that he bought my book. And then he told me what he's doing, and I'm supporting him with an online game. And he's a comedian / actor. And so when everything opens up, we're going to go karaoke singing. So I have a 33-year-old karaoke vaccine buddy. And what I'm trying to share is that your brand is everything about you. It's how you show up in the world all the time. And what I love about branding is that I get to be me, because that's part of my brand. That's part of my uniqueness. And I want to really reinforce the idea that you're not just your brand when you write lead pages or landing pages or sales letters, or when you're on Zoom, or when you're networking. Your brand is 360. It's all 24/7. And that's what's so beautiful. You can be you. And that's where the unique and authentic and transparency of your brand shines through. I mean, it shines through. Now I'm going to share with you a couple of online situations. And the reason I'm sharing these with you is for twofold. Number one, I want you to see specifically how I did it. And then I'm going to break down the introduction. I'm going to share the introduction with you and break it down for you. And so that's number one. Number two, I want you to really start to see that you bring your brand everywhere you go. And the importance, the ultimate importance of knowing who you are, what you do, who you serve, what your unique pieces are, what the results are, or how you solve solutions to whether it's a service or whether it's a product. And then people start asking you questions about yourself. And it's important to have a little bit knowledge to know about your brand story so that you can give them a little bit of knowledge about you. And so it's not just talking, and nothing relates to one another, and you don't know who your market is, because one of the best ways to identify your target market is to know your brand. I was just recently working with a new private client yesterday, and it's amazing. Once I asked her some questions and we started to go deeper so that we could uncover her story, and then we could put the brand story together. There were 3 new target markets just because of what she shared and her experiences and pivotal moments that she had never thought about before. Okay, it's that important. Okay, so let's look at a couple of online examples. So someone invited me on a Zoom call, and it was awesome. A lot of people on the call, entrepreneurs, very successful entrepreneurs, and I just introduced myself. They invited me as a guest, and they made sure they said that Ruth Klein is a guest here of the person that invited me, and then I knew the type of introduction because of the people that were on this call. So it's not a elevator speech. I don't know why, but I have a real problem with that term, elevator speech. It seems so fake. But I get it. You basically have a minute to say who you are and what you do and capture their attention so that they go, oh, really? Tell me more. And then now you're open to telling them more. But again, when they ask you to tell them more, you want to make sure that it's part of your branding. Again, it's succinct. So as I introduced myself, I saw in the chat that someone wanted to connect with me. And a few days later, after the program, we connected. And then I hired her. To do some services for me. And she is going to be an affiliate of mine. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Another situation I'm looking here on this blog is that I recently received a Facebook message. And this goes to why it's so important that you know your brand and you're able to put them on your different social media platforms. And she had connected with me a while back, and I was too busy to be part of her summit. And I said, I'd love to do it another time because I think I was promoting my Momentum Club. And she remembered, and she's doing one again in a month or 6 weeks. And I said, yes. And it was all because of Facebook and because of that, the branding, right? That introduction. And I also have a class coming in, because I do everything books too, writing a book by Christmas. And so she may be joining in that program. This is how it happens. And it's fun. It's really fun. And, I wake up every morning so grateful that I get to be me. I get to be me every day and do me. And I love that. I love that. And what's so perfect about it, for me at least, and for my clients, is that when you're clear about who you are and your brand story and your intro, it makes life and business really flow. And I call it the miracle field, living in the miracle field. And a third example with online is that I was collaborating with a client, well, actually a colleague who used to be a client, and we did an online program, and we each invited some people to this Zoom networking call. And it was a small group, but it was perfect. And of all the people in the universe, one of the women had tried to contact me, I guess a couple of years ago, and she goes, "You're Ruth Klein. I tried to connect with you a few years ago because I wanted to learn some things about books. And so now we connected, and one thing led to another. And I'm sure we'll be affiliates or clients. And it's just, it works so beautifully. But the fact that she was there of all the people. And again, this is what happens when you just show up. And believe it or not, that's part of your brand, is showing up. Even though you don't know exactly what to do or how to do it, showing up is at least 50% of it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to read you the written version of my intro, and then we'll talk about the verbal intro. Okay. So this doesn't mean that I always say this. So I've captured a lot of it. Okay. My name is Ruth Klein, and I'm a brand strategist, book coach, and author of 7 best-selling books. My business is called Expert Celebrity Branding, which means I do everything brands and books to help entrepreneurs, CEOs, and experts gain brand visibility through a relevant and engaging brand so that they can attract their ideal clients, the media, and sponsor opportunities. I do this by identifying their brand 360, whether it's for business or their book. And your brand impacts everything. Okay, that's the written version. Many times that I will do for an intro for a summit, or parts of this is also part of my introduction when I have to give information, when I have to basically give information that I can write down. Okay, the verbal part is, I call it the I am template. The verbal part is going to be less, but breaking that template down, again, you can always go to ruthklein.com and you'll see the template in the blog, and you'll have more time to figure it out. But it's basically, my name is, I'm a, my business is called, which means I, to help, so they can, and the benefits and the results. All right. I know that might be a little confusing. So please feel free to go to ruthklein.com. It's right there for you. So you can read up about it, kind of digest it, and work the I am template. Until next time, I'm Ruth Klein, and I love doing everything brands and books.